Oh, that's better. You guys don't have to look at the glare. Greetings from Medford Knife and Tool, MK Tooligans, friend and foe alike. Is there anybody out there? I feel like I'm on a mission to the Red Planet. Is there anyone out there? Is there anyone there? Is anybody there? I want to say Happy New Year to everybody. I was thinking, I had like 2 years ago, maybe it was a year and a half ago, I had the Nishimoto saga. And I was thinking it'd been a while since I had a run-in with an unreasonable customer. And I try to stay pretty accessible to everybody. And it's good and it's bad. I will explain. So it's good because people, if they want information straight from the horse's mouth, can get it, and I'm still reasonably informed about what's going on. It's bad if you're one of that very small group, the cadre of cunts in the retail universe. Now, this can happen for many reasons. The reason a man might end up being a cunt is plenty. Let's cover some of them for 2022. I might be a cunt because I don't know my dad. That's true. You might be a cunt because you don't know your dad. I might be a cunt because my dad didn't school me. He ignored me. That is a possibility also. I was raised by 2 lesbian women and not one of them taught me anything with the back of her hand when I got sassy and out of line as a teenage boy. Distinct possibility. I might be a cunt because I wear skinny jeans and my hair up in a bun and I have a well-oiled and coiffed beard. Might be a cunt. Now, the thing about people being cunty is a lot of times you catch them in a window. It's like their worst moment. Maybe they're a good person. They're just being a cunt with you. Now, I had a guy, for instance, today, right out of the gate, 2022, my first day in the office, and a guy sends this half-garbled, illiterate message saying how I clearly don't know what 500 thousandths of an inch is. And then, and I clearly had no business making knives because clearly he knew better than I did because I don't know 500 thousandths of an inch. That's 0.000005. Not thousandths, not 10 thousandths, hundreds, 5 decimals out, I'm sorry. I was like, hey man, the same part with 3 degrees of temperature change changes more than that. That's impossible. So I just responded back and says, hey, we don't make knives in 100 thousandths of an inch. 5 decimal points. Let me just make sure I want to say this right. 5 decimal points. Now we do 4 decimal points, which is in tenths of a thou, and we're pretty good at that. And almost nobody deals in those numbers. Now, I got lectured to a little bit about it, and I said, hey, what are you talking about? I said, we don't do anything in hundreds of a thousandths of an inch. No knife maker in the world does. Not even a measurement that is consistently measurable outside of a clean room lab. That was wow, sorry for the extra zero. And it's not 1 extra zero, it's a couple extra zeros. If you really like your customers, my clip is fucked up, thanks. Last Medford I buy. That's what I get. I get a guy. Who is this fucking jamoke? Oh, Richard Simmons' best friend. Now in the picture, it looks like a kind of chubby Asian fellow. I didn't even notice because on my phone I couldn't tell who it was. But I can see now on my big screen in the background, it is either a file photo with a dog foaming at the mouth or there's a Chinese fellow or Asian fellow of some variety. Now, I think it's probably an Asian guy because they got a history of being cunts with me. I don't know what it is about guys that want to get out micrometers and lecture me. But You can't measure a thousandth of an inch with a caliper. You can't measure with a micrometer unless you start taking stuff apart. A micrometer is good for down into a thou, and hundredths of thou requires a lab. Hundreds of thou, 100,000ths of an inch. The next one is millions. It's crazy. So, things that might make you a cunt. You might be a cunt because, listen, if you were raised in an orphanage, you're probably not a cunt. Because if you're not in jail, somebody along the line taught you some lessons and you learn manners you can't get ahead. Who would be a cunt? I'm going to give you an example. Somebody who lives in the big city and they've been sassing people off for years and nobody has fucking checked them. Now look, I always take care of everybody, but I'm not a punching bag. I don't have to take abuse from fucking Richard Simmons' best friend. Nobody has to take abuse. Listen, if you're in customer service and you work for a company, guess what? You don't have to take abuse either. If somebody says you're stupid or implies you're stupid, and you answer the question very nicely and then they get defensive, they're taking out the fact that they didn't have a good father on you. Or their dad was a cunt too. So my message for 2020 is if you have the wherewithal to not be a cunt, don't be a cunt. Now, I like the word cunt because it's so offensive, and it's even better now because we're not allowed to talk about the election. We're not allowed to talk about doubts we have about things. We're not allowed to talk about vaccines, no matter how much data we read off the World Health Organization's website. You can't even quote stuff from there. You get taken offline. You can't have an opinion about a lot of things because big tech oligarchs are censoring us. But you can say cunt. And I like it because it's offensive. I also like it because I consider myself somewhat continental. I consider myself somewhat erudite. I like traveling around the old world of Europe. And the Brits, they use it so well. Cunt. Don't be a cunt. It's a great phrase. DBAC, baby. DBAC. Don't be a cunt. Remember, you're talking to somebody on the other end of the phone when you start hurling insults. And just because, you know what I see? When somebody comes out of the gate abusive, they abuse everybody around them. It's a universal truth. If you're engaging a customer and they're being abusive, they're abusive to everyone. You know, they don't know they're talking to me or somebody else. They probably think it's some social media girl who works my social media for me. It's me. And they're going to be an asshole? The lesson of 2022. If you're in the knife business and your name is Greg and you look like me, 2022 is sold out. I have nothing to offer. Half of 2023 is sold out. I have a new company. I opened up sales for an hour and a half and I sold out the whole year's production. So, we make knives. We're good at it. We love the job. We are grateful. We are blessed. And thank you to all of you. Thank you for not being cunts. And for those of you who are cunts who haven't gotten crossways with me yet, just don't get crossways with me. Once or twice a year, somebody gets crossways and they're being a cunt. And it is our obligation as men in the tribe to tell them, you're being a cunt. Stop it. Just knock it off. Knock it off. I see this with abusive men. I see it out in public when they get really rude or abusive with somebody, and I see the women with them just cringe. You know, I see it with people when they have their dog with them and they're acting like an asshole, and dogs read body language really well, and you'll see a dog just, oh God, he's got me by the neck. I can't really leave. I'm embarrassed. I'm sorry. People that are abusive to everybody. Now, I'm not shy. I'm polite to everyone until you're a fool, and then I'm fucking done. And sometimes I'll be like, hey, are you having a bad day, or is this how you are? They go, what do you mean? I go, well, look, you're a fucking cunt. Stop it. You can't talk to a grown man like that. I will come through the fucking phone and punch you in the mouth. It's the way I feel emotionally. Does anyone else feel that way? Do some of you feel when you're being spoken down to like you just want to reach out and pop somebody? I don't get too many veterans, but veterans have a higher share of cuntery than most of our citizens. They feel very entitled. My vets are very entitled. So if you're a veteran and you're fucking banging your chest about it to the world, calm down. You volunteered. You got paid. We spent billions of dollars to have helicopters and V-22 Ospreys to get you out. It'll be all right. Don't be a cunt. Go team. I'll tell you, there's a reason we look up to the quarterback. There is a reason we look up to athletes. We do. Because what they do at its most refined essence is they make their actions speak louder than words. They're purely in a meritocracy that is being judged in real time, and they have to make critical decisions faster than most of us can process information. I ask people questions all the time. Oh, well, what about they want to ask me 20 questions, and they want to add 3 caveats, 4 conditionals, and they get around to a mushy half answer. And about you, I'm good at this now. And I'm like 10 seconds. I'm like, stop all that. I'm asking for an answer. Stop with all the intellectualism. What's your gut tell you? People's gut tells you the truth more often than not. When somebody comes right out of the gate, passive aggressive, and then you respond to them as cordially as imaginable, and then they're offended, that's called projection. They're being a cunt. Do you know why we don't like, who's the basketball player with the Nation of Islam beard that plays for LA? What's his name? The whiny fucker. You guys know who I'm talking about. Put him up there. The whiny guy, BLM, LeBron James. I think it's LeBron James. Do you know why we don't like him? Not because he's from LA, who cares? We don't like him because he's a cunt. That's it, he's just a cunt. You got the world by the ass. Everybody around you has got the world by the ass. You know what LeBron and his guys sit around? You know what they sit around? They sit around and they go, oh man, this sucks. They all pull up in their Lamborghinis and their Ferraris and their Porsches and their Maseratis and their Bugattis. They show up with their second or third Gumar, their little blonde white girl they keep on the side. They show up, La China. Oh my God, La China James. That's fantastic. They show up, they get together, and here's what they do. They bitch about how awful life is. They bitch about people. They bitch about Whitey. They bitch about their plot in life. They support actual slavery in China right now because they're lackeys and they're cunts. I have met very few male Democrats in my life. As time goes by, the old Democrats who are kind of patriots, they love America, they're just leery of big corporations, they want to make sure the working man's looked out for. Your old-fashioned Democrat, I'm not talking about them. They're dying off. They're converting over, and they're being supplanted by purple-haired, heffalump, lesbian, transgender, America-hating, America's the worst, race baiting, slavery, Marxism, commie socialist, redistribution of wealth, phony woke motherfuckers. And when you meet a guy who's phony woke, he is a cunt. I was due for a rant. I was just due. It's 2022, peeps. Don't be a cunt. That's my message. For those of you, I hope you enjoy. Sometimes I just gotta, this is the way like a cat hacks up a hairball. I get on and just kvetch out some angst. Thanks for stopping in, you guys. Have a great day. Greg Medford from Medford Knives, MKT USA, and ASK Knives. I'm out!